What have you been around for that you might otherwise have missed without transplant?
I do pretty much a little bit less than I did before. You know, I do my volunteer work at my son's old high school. Outside of that, I'm here enjoying it.
Well, hopefully my son will get married and I'll have grandkids, and that's one thing I'm looking forward to, and just to spend my older years with my wife and just live out life and enjoy it as much as I can, and that's what I'm looking forward to, I guess, anyway.
One of the things that the transplant gave me was time that I wouldn't have. In my case, when they opened me up, they realized that my lungs were in far worse shape than they thought. So it was not going to be very long before I was on a respirator in a hospital. The transplant gave me the opportunity to be with my mom and dad that much longer, and the fact that they moved up into the area that we lived in shortly after my transplant. So my relationship was enhanced with my mom and dad. The ability to spend more time with my wife and develop and enhance that relationship, and to be able to do things that I would never be able to do before. What I mean by that is that the transplant gave me more of a spontaneous outlook on life. I don't wait any longer to do something. I do it. So in my case, I went out and learned how to play golf. So I play golf now. And I've always wanted to fly fish. So now I fly fish. And I had never done that before. And so the transplant has enhanced my ability to do things that I may have never done before.
Transplant has allowed me to spend more time with my daughters and with my grandson. And my mother, who is 86 years old, just being with her, because she is getting old, and I just want to spend more quality time with her also.
There are so many things that have happened over the past 21 years that I'm very thankful to have witnessed. I have two nieces who have both married, and that was wonderful to see them, grow up. A very profound thing is that I was adopted, and I discovered last year that I have a brother who's a full brother who had been trying to find me and through the system, and finally did last year. So of course that was pretty life-shaking, but something that I wouldn't have been here for had I not still been alive.
So a couple big things that I've been able to do that I wouldn't have been able to if I'd not been transplanted are getting married, which was an amazing experience. And there was a huge reflection of kind of the journey that I took, because my mom and I had chosen 3 songs to be played at my funeral, and instead we were able to play those 3 songs at my wedding, which I just felt like was the perfect representation of what I had survived and what I'd gone through. And also being able to adopt a child, that's just a huge, huge gift. I can't believe that I'm gonna be able to be a mom.
I have 2 goddaughters, and I lost contact with them after I left Oklahoma, which is where I'm from. I left Oklahoma some years back, and I lost contact with them, and they both reconnected with me. So I'm going to see them soon. Yeah, and that means a whole lot to me. That I can say is one of the biggest things. Yeah, that's one of the biggest things to me.
If I hadn't been a candidate for transplant, and if lungs had not become available for me when they did, I would have missed a lot. I would have missed the birth of my 5th and 6th grandchild. I would have missed my 17-year-old granddaughter's trip to London. I would have missed nieces and nephews graduating from high school and from college. I would have missed all the little things that today are so important to me. I would have missed being with my husband. I would have missed some vacations that we've gone on since transplant. I would have missed walking the streets of Ephesus or going to the Grand Bazaar in Istanbul. I would have missed going to the pubs in Ireland and not drinking 1 ounce of beer. There are just so many things that I would have missed that I'm so grateful that I am able to experience with my husband, with my family, with my grandchildren. I'm just thankful. I don't know what else to say. You're going to make me cry.
If I hadn't gotten my donor lungs, I don't know how much time I would have had, because my lungs were very bad. I asked the resident or fellow who did my bronchoscopy if I could see my lungs, but he said no, but he did describe them to me, which they were, hardened and had some infection in them. So it would have shortened my life if I didn't get, my life would have been shortened. So I wouldn't probably be here today if I didn't have the transplant.
If I would have not gotten my donor lungs, I would have missed what's happening right now. I would have missed sharing how much I love my friends and family and my significant other, and having those memories. I probably wouldn't be here right now. I mean, my lung functions were at like 10.8%. That's all I had left. And I was withered down to nothing. I would have died eventually anyway, sooner than later, probably before now. Like, I'm gonna be 35 in a few months, and I probably wouldn't have lasted much longer. I was transplanted when I was 31. So yeah, I would have missed all of this.
If I wouldn't have received this gift, I know that I would have missed out on seeing my nephew get married. I would have missed out on seeing babies that were born in the family. This coming weekend, I'm going up to see my goddaughter graduate. There's just so many life events that when you're healthy, you just know they're going to come your way. But when you've gone through a critical illness and you come through it, you really cherish every single one of those life moments.
Frankly, I'm an optimistic person, so I don't really think I thought that it wouldn't happen. It was a long time in coming, and so the question more was, when are you going to have this transplant? When are you going to have this transplant? Not what's going to happen if you don't get the transplant. I think that also has to do with the fact that I wasn't feeling badly. The doctors at UCSF were much more concerned about my condition than I was. So I felt that I could go on at least the way I was going on for quite some time. I was aware that waiting for a heart and lung block would be a long process, and that's why I got on the transplant list early in my mind, not in my doctor's minds. But in my mind, I got on the transplant list early so that I had that time to wait. But I don't really think I ever thought that it wouldn't happen. I didn't have any fears about dying, which is what I would have thought about, and dying badly, and by which I mean sick and gasping for breath, or in a hospice, just waiting for my time. That never actually occurred to me.
If I hadn't received the donor lung, at least when I did, I don't think I would have had much life left. I was on life support 30 days before the transplant, and it looked like it could get much worse. I believe I was able to receive a transplant just in time. So I believe every day since the transplant is a day that I would have not had before. I believe I was that seriously ill. But for my part, life is all new. It's been good.
If I had not gotten my donor lungs, I would have missed out on my life because I was that close to that time. With talking with some of the physicians afterwards, I was maybe several weeks to a couple of months from not being able to survive. And in that basically means I get to be with my family. And I was at that point expecting that may not occur.